Hey guys, welcome to another Plus One Daily. My name is John Olson. Honored, grateful, thankful that you guys have decided to spend a few minutes with me today as we dive in. We are onto a new book, and while this is going to be a really quick read, just like last week's Little Things by Andy Andrews, this week's book is a book I've been wanting for a while, and it's from one of my favorite authors on planet Earth, Jon Gordon. And it's called The Power of Positive Leadership. And if you don't know who Jon Gordon is, Jon Gordon was the author of The Energy Bus and a host of other books. In fact, that top shelf right there, over there on my bookshelf, is a lot of Jon Gordon books. I got about 7 of them. So he released this book this past month. Actually, it released on my birthday, April 24th. And I was hunting for it. I knew he was releasing it, but see, the thing about living in Canada is that we don't always get all the books you guys in the States might get on launch day. So, Jon Gordon books, there's about 2 or 3 that are in every bookstore you go to. I've like The Energy Bus, for example, How to Win in the Locker Room, the book he wrote with Mike Smith, the ex-coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Still, a lot of the Jon Gordon books don't show up in stores here in Canada. So I was hunting for this. I went to probably about a half dozen bookstores in my town where I live in Edmonton here, and I couldn't find it. But finally, I found it. I found it in a bookstore in a suburb of Edmonton. So I had to drive outside of the city to get the book, but I got it. And again, I'm a huge fan of Jon Gordon. And when I learned that he was writing this a couple months back, and he had the date set for launch. Again, being a big fan, I had to read it. So I finally got it, dove into it. Where am I at? I'm on to chapter 4 now. And the first little bit of this book, obviously the general idea, and it's kind of almost going along with what we were talking about with Brian Tracy's book, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Positivity is contagious. That's the start of the book, is that people want to literally be around positive people. They don't want to be around negative people. And there was a few examples that Jon really shared in this book that I wanted to highlight today, because I think it was really, really important. And the first few chapters addressed that we need to stop just talking about things. And I'm guilty. I'm definitely guilty of this. I talk a good talk, but do I step up? And I have to question myself, do I actually do what I'm saying? So part of it was to stop telling and start showing. That was one of the messages at the beginning of this book. We want to project positivity, because if we're projecting positivity, we're going to attract people. And Jon went over a whole bunch of stats where it showed that the higher the income you make is generally a direct result of how positive you are. Negative people just don't attract good things, and it's just because they exude this negativity to the market and the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. It repels good things. So the start of this book again was talking about being the example. Develop a culture of positivity in your workforce and everything you do. And again, this was a big gut check for me, because I've heard this stuff. I mean, I've read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I've read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've read all these positive thinking classics, but there's something about knowing this stuff and then actually showing this stuff. And that's the problem. That's the problem I'm having. A lot of the times, I'm my own worst enemy. I got all this great information in my head, but I'm not projecting what I'm learning. And part of this book, part of the beginning of this book, was to project the good, the positive. Project that, because you want to develop the culture and be the example for your circle, for your network, for people that might be watching this video, reading the blog post, or even attending my live seminar. So that was the big takeaway from the beginning of this book. There was some other stuff he was talking about, and I'm just going to read my notes here because I wanted to make sure I went over everything that he addressed. He talked about this organization called HeartMath.org, and talking about how the heart actually projects, like it broadcasts positivity, and this was some deep science stuff, and I poked around on the website, but it was really fascinating to learn that we literally are broadcasting positivity in everything we do, including our heartbeat. And that sounds really pseudoscientific, and I get it. Go to heartmath.org to learn all about this, but it was kind of an interesting tidbit for me. It's just like, man, why don't we start projecting more positive stuff? What's the worst that can happen? Literally ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if we're just projecting positivity? If we're and this is something John talked about too in the book. It's not fake positivity. It's not that gushy ushy like, oh, I'm so happy to see you, like all that fake stuff. Like, people can smell that stuff a mile away. Like, don't be fake about it. Genuinely be positive. And if you need help on why you should be positive, start a gratitude journal. I saw a good friend of mine, Nick Grimshaw, was actually talking about that today in a video, and I'll try to find his blog, and I'll link it to it in the post here. But Nick talked about, doing this stuff, and it's really, really important for us to project this stuff, because we're going to attract the negative. The negativity, and like I was saying, the gratitude journal. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. See, this is what I mean. Don't be too perfect, because you're going to screw up sometimes, but you keep recording. I totally lost my train of thought. I was like, Nick was talking about, I was going to make this point, and I was going to link to Nick's blog, and I was like, man, what am I talking about? And I was about to say I messed up, so I'll say it now. I messed up. But what he's talking about in this video, I remember now. How to develop a gratitude journal. How to start your day with gratitude. If you want to be positive about stuff, that's a tidbit right there. That's a huge nugget. Start being thankful for things. Start a gratitude journal. Look at the things you have to be thankful for instead of all the negative stuff. Because if you look out in the world, man, there's tons of negativity out there. You will be bombarded with it left, right, center. It will be astronomically overwhelming. But if you're starting a gratitude journal and you're beginning your day with being thankful, and really being grateful for what you do have, I think that you'll be able to broadcast and project more positivity throughout the day. So I hope you guys are I know it's a late notice. I mean, I literally put that I'm reading this book earlier today. So maybe you don't read this week, but you might read it down the road. And if you're not yet familiar with Jon Gordon, please do get familiar with this guy. He is an awesome author, one of my favorites. He's up there probably top 5 authors for me of all time. And if you want a good introduction, definitely read The Energy Bus. That was his first book that really set it in motion. But all of his books, they're written in parable form, which is really, really cool. This one isn't. This isn't a parable. This is, real examples and real world stuff. But definitely check it out. The Power of Positive Leadership. This is brand new, literally 2 weeks old, this book that I'm doing this video for now. So I'll be diving through it this week. I'll do another video on Friday about what I've learned so far in it. And then we'll do the book review, the full book review on Sunday. So have a great day. Be good to each other. Be positive. Be positive. And let's go and +1 each and every day. Toodles.